You're listening to Sarah Hagan Backstage, with interviews and insights from years inside the music industry. Join Sarah as she talks with masters of their crafts, finding out what makes them tick, both inside and outside of the music business.
Welcome to Sarah Hagan Backstage. My guest today, Andrew Tkaczyk, is the drummer for the band The Ghost Inside, and he is also a multi-instrumentalist who writes and records music for many genres. I am going to talk to Andrew today about music, drums, his apparel line, our mutual love of horror movies, of course, and about how he and his band made the greatest comeback ever from a horrific bus crash in 2015 that caused serious injuries to him, his band, the crew, and resulted in the loss of his right leg. Andrew's story of overcoming incredible adversity in order to make it back to the stage, doing what he loves with his best friends, is just really inspiring. So come along with me as I catch up with Andrew Tkaczyk. Andrew, welcome to the podcast.
Yeah, thank you for having me. This is exciting.
Absolutely. Thank you for being here today.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's cool to catch up with you again. It's been a minute, but yeah.
It has been a minute, and so much has happened since we last caught up with each other, I think. So
it is.
Got a lot to talk about.
Yep.
And let's jump in first and talk about what you've been up to throughout the whole coronavirus pandemic. I know you've been up to a lot and like some really great stuff. So let's chat about that. First of all, how are things for you? How have things been?
Things have been great. I can't complain. The band just played 4 shows this month and they were all crazy and amazing. And I'm just super thankful and grateful to be able to do it still. And I'm located in Michigan, but I'm moving to Vegas in January. So a lot of cool, big, exciting things coming up for me. So
that's great.
I can't complain. So
I did see you're building a house in Vegas, right?
Yep. So got the ball
great.
rolling. Yeah, we got the ball rolling on it in my girlfriend and I in February, and they had like the lumber shortage that was going on, and that kind of put a little halt on it. But now that's that situation's better, they're kind of moving along in it. So.
That's fantastic.
Yeah,
do you get out there to see the progress, or do you get like updates through photos and things?
Yeah, it's right now just getting photo updates. I'll be going out there in the next month or two for like the walkthrough, the last walkthrough before they finish it and finalize it. So
wow, that's so great.
Yeah, I'm really excited to be on the West Coast and not be around cold weather. I'm ready to get away from Michigan winters.
I can sympathize. I can sympathize. Although not Michigan, it is still very, very cold in the Boston area.
You get the crazy Massachusetts nor'eastern storms, and
oh yes,
you get all that.
Oh yeah. I mean, like when you have a system for digging out from a big snowstorm, like you have it down to a science, who does what, and then you know.
I don't want that anymore. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No, you're going to be great. That's fantastic. And are you putting a studio in this new house?
Well, I'm going to turn one of the spare rooms. It kind of like what I have in here. Like this is just one of the spare rooms in my house currently.
Mm-hmm.
I've just made my own recording studio.
Perfect.
I'm going to do the same thing there. Maybe one day I'll think about upgrading and like renting a space to have like a legit studio out there, but that's probably something way down the road. So for now, I'll just do the bedroom thing.
That's great.
Working for me for a long time. So
absolutely. And nowadays, like that's really all you need, like with sound being the way that it is and, technology and miking and all that stuff. That's really what you need. So that's perfect.
It's crazy. Yeah. You can turn out like commercial quality recordings, professional sounding mixes and stuff with a laptop, basically.
Yeah.
And plugins on that lap. Like technology has just come so far with it. And I love it.
It's amazing. And I feel like technology over the past year and a half with the pandemic has just like, we were just talking before we started recording about mics and like how far they've come for the capabilities and, just things like that you can just have in your home that make such a difference.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there are a few tiny, kind of cool things that came out of the pandemic. And one of them is stuff like that and podcasts and, Zoom became a huge thing, and it was a way for people to communicate when we were locked in our houses. And I think that kind of stuff's here to stay too. Like people figured out that like, you can work from home. Things changed. So it's been a rough couple of years, but there's a few good things in it. I like to look at some of the good things about it. So.
Absolutely. I know that's your personality, and I love that about you. You're always looking for the positive, and that's fantastic.
I try. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And I never imagined working from home either. It was like, that was such a remote possibility. But it is like the world has changed so much over the past year and a half, not just technology, but like the concept of work from home and the ability to do what you need to do from your home workspace.
Yep. And it's just like, the pandemic hit, and then we as humans figured out how to make it work, even kids going to school.
Yeah.
The technology allowed things to continue rolling, even though it was a nightmare and is a nightmare to do it. Like it made it work. Kind of like a fight or flight thing. Just
absolutely.
The situation forced us to figure it out. And it's cool. I love, like we were talking before, I love doing podcasts. Like I have a whole setup for it now, just because I've done so much and I've done so many like Zoom meetings over the last year and a half and stuff that when you hit me up to do it a week ago or whatever, I was like, oh, cool. I get to go in and fire up my little space station and do all that. So yeah, I enjoy it.
Yeah. I mean, it is pretty crazy how podcasts have just become the medium. And I love it. I run. And so I listen to podcasts while I run. I listen to a lot of like true crime podcasts. Actually, that's one of the things that really like holds my interest and distracts me from running. So, so that's been really great. What podcasts what are your go-to podcasts?
So my go-to podcasts are mostly comedy ones. I like comedians. So many comedians have podcasts. I like, Tom Segura's, Your Mom's House, and his one with Bert Kreischer, which is Two Bears, One Cave. Chris D'Elia, Congratulations. Bobby Lee and Andrew Santino have Bad Friends. There's so many. I'm more of a fan of watching them on YouTube. I like the video and audio for podcasts instead of just audio.
Me too.
Yeah, I like to be able to watch it.
I'm the same way. Like there's something about the visual that I really enjoy. Even if it's like this, just watching two people chat with each other, it adds another dynamic to it.
Yeah. Why is it so fascinating to sit and listen to most of the time it's two strangers talk about, well, I guess it's because of the topic you love, but
yes,
it's fun to just watch people chop it up. I love doing it. Yeah,
I'm in the same boat. And let's definitely talk about another thing that happened during the pandemic that was a super positive in your life, and I was like psyched to see it. You started an apparel company.
Yeah, it's called Take Back Brand, and the whole kind of idea behind it. This is one of the items here.
Oh, nice.
So I figured I'd shamelessly plug.
Do myself. That, yes.
But yeah, it's the whole idea behind it is sort of like take back your life. We want to promote a message of nothing is just gonna fall into your lap. You have to choose to whether you want it or not. It's not just gonna magically appear. You have to go get it. So take it back. You know what I mean? Like what I went through with our accident. I chose not to wallow in my own self-pity and not to, not to be negative about it. Instead, I wanted to, the other side of the coin was taking it head on and making something bigger out of it and more positive out of it. And that's what I strived to do. And that's kind of the message I want to put out there that's the way I think. And I think it helps a lot of people, and it can motivate and inspire people to maybe try and think the same way, because in my opinion, it is a choice. That kind of thing is we're all in control of our own paths in life. Whether life throws curveballs at you or not, how you handle it is everything. So that's sort of the idea about it. And my buddy, my best friend, I've known since I was 3 years old. He does it with me, and he's a veteran, and he was injured in combat, and I watched him sort of kick life's ass after it threw him a curveball as well. So we inspire each other and sort of think the same way. So and we also like, we like streetwear fashion and stuff. We're both nerds about, we both have way too many pairs of like sneakers and, stuff like that. So we're kind of blending those worlds,
I love that. I absolutely love it. And the message behind what you're doing is just so important too. It's just
definitely. I think so too.
It's incredible. And that it's your best friend from childhood. Like how cool is that? And that you've both overcome so much. It's really a tough situation for veterans, especially returning, retiring and finding the world different than you left it, and adjusting to all of those things. And I think that's amazing.
Yep. He definitely, he showed me what it's like to be tough, and it made me want to be tough. I don't want to let something defeat me. I want something to end for me because I say it ends, not because of something, no matter what it is, like that's just my attitude. I don't know where it came from, but I'm thankful I've had that attitude and outlook in life,
Absolutely. And that will take you through. It will carry you through anything that comes your way. Absolutely. If you have that, that's like the foundation for success and, overcoming pretty much anything. So we'll put a link so that people can check out the apparel, but it's so great. And I love the bright colors and everything. And you have, sometimes your hair matches your shirt, and there we go.
Yeah.
It's so great.
I've really, really leaned into this, like this neon yellow green, like tennis ball looking. And it's just like, I don't know, to me, that bright of a color kind of reflects how bright you could, make your own future. You can, it's sort of like a symbol of, daring to be the most bold, it sort of works in line with it. So, and I admittedly just love that color. I have so many friends that are like, dude, that shit's way too bright. I'm like, nah, blind me with it. I want to see it. Yeah.
It's perfect. Yeah. It's so perfect. It's different too.
It's fun. It's fun too. Yeah.
Yeah. And you have like, clothes that match your hair and your shoes. I saw your, you created some like Nike shoes not too far back that were that color. I just think of it as like your signature color. So
that's definitely my brand, I think.
Yeah, exactly. I love it.
So
it's fantastic.
It's fun.
So you mentioned that you've played some shows recently, and I've loved the, kind of keeping up with you on Instagram, seeing what you and the band are doing, and it must have felt so good. We'll talk about like the band's comeback and everything, but coming out of the pandemic, playing some shows after so long, how did it feel? Did it feel different than before?
It's really, really complicated because, what we went through, it took years for us to recover and play that. Our main goal after our accident was to play at least one more show and then just see how it goes after. And we did that in July of 2019. Then all of a sudden the next year we get slapped with the global pandemic.
Right.
And that puts pause on it again. What we just went through. We went through it, came back, got the taste of like being on stage again to being on pause again.
Right.
Back. So it's almost like that first show back, which was August 28th in Worcester at Palladium, was it was almost like anxiety.
Yeah, I can imagine that.
Yeah, it was like going through the big comeback again.
Yeah.
Because we had some shows planned for 2020. All these shows actually that we played this year were supposed to happen in 2020, so it wouldn't have been nearly as long of a break, But just like that first comeback show in Los Angeles, the first one this year, as soon as we played our first song, I was just right back on that bike.
It's amazing.
Just right back on it. The anxiety just went away, and I was just smiling so big the whole time. Even if I played sloppy, I didn't care. Like, we had pyro and confetti and just all this crazy, like, you know, stuff that like you see your favorite big bands in concert have, that I never thought, you know, the Ghost Inside would be able to accomplish, but that's what we're doing now. And I'm just so grateful. And it's been the last few weeks have been crazy. And, you know, one of the coolest things about it is they were all, for us personally, sort of like fly dates. So flew in a week before, rehearsed, played Worcester, flew home, chilled for a week, flew to Maryland to practice at our guitar player's studio, drove to North Carolina, drove to Virginia to play a show there, flew to Cincinnati, flew back home, had a week off, flew out to Chicago, flew back. Like, and it was crazy. It's the most traveling I've done since we were on tour consistently, but also, you know, felt so normal to me, like sitting backstage, being on tour, playing more than just one show within a month. Like, you know, it's driving in a van with my band to a show. It felt so normal and so, like, I don't know. It was just really cool to have that feeling of being on tour again, you know?
Yeah, like a little bit of normalcy,
right?
After so much not.
Yeah, and that was the first I've felt like that since we were on tour, since that bus wreck. So
that's amazing.
Yeah,
and
it was crazy.
You've talked a little bit about the bus crash, but we'll touch on that a little bit, because that really kind of it changed a lot. It changed a lot. And that was 2015.
Yep.
And you were in a pretty serious and scary bus crash that you were seriously injured. I remember when that happened. I remember hearing about that. And of course, you know, hearing your name and immediate like panic and worry. And I do remember the first conversation we had after the accident, where you said, you know, I want to let you know it's not public knowledge, but I lost my leg. And the way that the way that you delivered that news and the positivity that I could just hear in your voice, you're like, I'm going to come back. I'm going to keep playing, and the band's going to get, you know, back together, and we're just going to keep going, and it's going to be okay. And it was amazing. Like, I felt like you were reassuring me instead of the opposite, you know, which is how you are. That's so your personality. And we had this really great conversation about, you know, other drummers who have actually lost limbs and come back and played and, you know, continued on in their career. And you were like, yeah, that's my motivation, and I'm going to get back there. And so, like, all along the way, every step along the way, you just amazed me. And I think everybody else. Like, your comeback was incredible to watch. And I know going through it, it was really tough. And I know you had tough moments, but you were just amazing.
Yeah, it's you know, like that conversation we had where you said, like, you know, I was reassuring you. You know, sometimes I think, because a lot of people have told me that same thing, and sometimes I'm like, you know, maybe that was like just a defense mechanism at the time. Was like, but even if so, guess what? It tricked my brain into making it happen. Because look, it fucking happened. Like,
yeah. It did.
Even if at the time I was just saying that as a defense mechanism, like I convinced myself that it's possible, and with the help from many people, it became possible. So that also helped me keep that positive attitude throughout the whole process, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. I do, you know, I always in those moments kind of like tend to go into mom mode. Like, I don't know what it is, but I just remember being like, okay, you know, I'm going to connect you with so-and-so, and, you know, that, like, but you were like, yeah, I'm good. Like, it's that's wonderful. But like, I just remember you saying, can you send some low volume cymbals? Like that's
Yeah.
really what I need. Cause you were playing like during your physical therapy, right? You were playing like at the hospital and needed some quiet
Yeah.
instruments.
Yeah. So like crazy enough, the accident happened in El Paso, and then after a month in that hospital, I was flown back to near where I live in Grand Rapids, and my doctor there was a drummer.
Mm-hmm.
Out of all things, he was a drummer, so he completely understood what I needed to do, and he that guy just like ran shit up there, and he's like, "Yep, I'm gonna get a room in this hallway,
Mm-hmm.
like a broom closet, but it was big." He's like, we can put a kit in there for you, and when you're done with your inpatient physical therapy, if you want, you can go play drums and
So
just
great.
re-familiarize with it. Yeah. So like I had this crazy support system between my doctors and my physical therapists at the hospital, and my family, my friends, and the fans of the Ghost Inside, just constantly like, we're here with you, we're fighting with you, you're gonna do it. Like, it was just crazy overwhelming. Our label, our management, there's so many people that like I felt like I owed it to all of those people to make it work, which is another thing that played into,
Mm-hmm.
we're coming back, we're going to make it happen. It's just absolutely insane. And yeah, the drum kit was set up in this like broom closet, and I would I was discharged and I went home and I recovered at my family's house, but I would drive or get driven for like 2 years, 3 times a week to the physical therapy clinic.
Wow.
And I would do 2 or 3 hours of physical therapy, and then I would just go up to that room, play drums for some days 20 minutes, some days an hour and a half. And I used the quiet cymbals and this just kind of like bare bones kit that SJC sent me.
Mm-hmm.
And I was able to kind of get excited about drums again, which led to the device that my dad built for me. So
Yeah. Oh, so that was going to be the next thing that I was going to ask, because I've seen pictures of your setup, and just like, because you're playing, you wouldn't hear a difference whatsoever. But you can see the device that you have. Can you talk about that a little bit? Because it's so incredibly interesting.
yeah, so at first, I thought that I would be able to either play with I'm an above knee amputee, so
Mhm.
I only have a little bit of limb down there, and a prosthetic leg above the knee has what's called a socket, and it's basically a thigh shaped kind of like bucket that your limb goes in, and attached to that is a knee,
Mhm.
a mechanical knee or a prosthetic knee that bends and this and that. I thought I'd play with that and make that work, or with doctors help develop one with that. My dad, right off the bat, was like, no, you don't need to play with a prosthetic. He's like, I think you will be able to play better if you had a device that you could just play with your free limb. And he
Mhm.
dreamt this thing up in my hospital in El Paso, and like drew it on like a napkin. And it was just this like, he like drew my double pedals, and then on the right one he drew this like bar attached to it that comes up to about my snare drum height,
Mhm.
with another pedal that he made, and it's like attached to this 4-legged thing with a bass. And he's like, this is how you'll be able to play without, because that was his original idea. And I was like, okay, well, at the time I was like, well, that's crazy, whatever.
Yeah.
I was like, I want to see if these doctors can help, and if this prosthetic thing works. And then over time, playing with a prosthetic on, it became such a frustrating thing with like, having the prosthetic weighs like 15, 20 pounds,
Mhm.
having to lift that and hit it. And the Ghost Inside is like very fast double bass,
Yeah.
and a lot of complex like triplet fills on the kick and stuff that just made it like, it just discouraged me so much. And I got into
Mhm.
a place where I was like, drums suck, I don't want to do this anymore. And my dad was like, no. And he just went and made this idea he dreamt up, and I used it. And I was like, oh my God, this is so much better. I have like so much more control. I can hit harder. And it just, from there, it was all downhill. And my mom came up with the name The Hammer for it. So we call it the Hammer. And there's probably been 13 different iterations of it. And, you know, my dad just in the garage, he's retired now. He just makes them, and I try them, and I'm like, can you do this with it? We make adjustments together. And that with triggers, it allowed me to be able to play at the level I was playing before, actually more, you know, even further, you know, with the side shows we've been playing. But it allowed me to at least be able to play the songs at the level close to the level I was when I had my leg before the accident.
Wow. That's amazing. And is your dad, like, you know, so you said he's retired, but was he like some kind of engineer or
Nope.
no?
He's just he's a blue collar, worked at GM for 45 years, handyman.
I love it.
He woodworking is his main passion. He's always liked to make things. He's made some crazy shit for my mom and family over the years that he just has ideas. He's an ideas guy, and he just does it. So
that's so incredible.
Yeah.
I love the support. Like you mentioned, from your family and from the fans and all of that, but it's amazing. So amazing.
Yeah, it's overwhelming. Honestly, it's so overwhelming. I mean, one of the things I remember happening in the hospital was I was on Instagram, and Epitaph, our label, they just posted this thing that was like, you know, we're no longer going to be recouping any finances or royalties from the Ghost Inside from album sales. All album sales go directly to the band. And I just like broke down in tears. What label has done that?
Yeah. That doesn't happen, right?
I just meant so much, and I just like broke down into tears. Like, I thought there were a lot of overwhelming support moments that happened like that throughout the whole journey, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I love that you guys you played the comeback show, and that, yes, things were delayed in 2020, but you're back and touring and back together, and, you know, playing, like you said, better than ever, to bigger crowds than ever, with confetti and pyro. Like, it's so great. It's like the best comeback.
It really is. It really is wild. And it's something that, like, for the last, 6 years, I've been so hyper focused on just the comeback and making it happen, that I don't ever sit back and think of how insane it is.
Yeah.
Being like trying to be on the outside and look in, like, it's a crazy story, and I'm just proud of us that we've accomplished it. And I mean, it's insane.
It's huge. It's inspiring.
Yeah.
It should be a movie.
It really could be.
Right?
They could. Yeah. Yeah.
The story is still being written. So
for sure. Absolutely. Yeah.
And along those lines too, you did release in 2020 a live album from that comeback show. Is that right?
We released a new record in 2020, and then the live record we released this year.
Okay, that's right. Yes.
So yeah, we released the new live record. I think it was around the anniversary, the 1 year or 2 year anniversary of that show. So that's out on all the platforms now, and we have some other stuff in the works for that as well. We had the whole Shrine show, the big first comeback show, professionally filmed, multiple angles, and we did a live stream of it on the anniversary of that show, and it was really, really cool. We all got together in Vegas and like we went, like, rented out a place and watched it on a big screen, and it was cool. And we have some more stuff, some more cool, exciting stuff involving that coming soon. So. Oh,
that's exciting. Yeah. Everyone will be on the lookout for that, I'm sure.
Yeah.
It is weird, like, just thinking about time frames with the albums coming out and trying to remember. It feels like 2021 hasn't really, we're like nearing the end of the year, but it hasn't really had its due, because it kind of feels like this extension of 2020 in this weird alternate reality that we're all living in. So
yeah, it's
a little crazy.
It's a crazy time to be alive. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, but we're making it through, and that positive attitude is a big part of it, I think. So
for sure. Yeah, it's essential. Things are crazy out there. Like, in media and social media, and you can get lost in just dark and negativity, and it's not going to help anything, you know.
No, definitely not. And I think, just mentioning social media, that your posts are so funny and uplifting. And I love when you do your little like comedy skit posts on Instagram because it's so good.
I can't help it. Sometimes I just get these stupid ideas in my head and I'm like, oh, I'll put myself out there and just sometimes I don't look at them and I'm like, I'm an idiot.
No. Keep doing it because you're entertaining us, and that's what we all need. We need, the humor, and it makes sense that your podcast go-tos are in the comedy realm because it fits, right?
It's always been it's kind of something on my bucket list. One day I would like to try and do stand up or something. I always wanted to get into like some form of acting, like voice acting. I can do a lot of voices and impressions, and I have like a lot of characters, and I would like to do some sort of sketch comedy or stand up or something one day.
I love that so much. I want to put you on the spot and ask you to do an impression, but I don't want to do that to you.
I don't know what I would do. There's so many. Yeah, and there's so much better if they just come out naturally.
Right. Exactly.
But
I agree.
I think moving to Vegas, there could be some opportunity, out there for stuff. So we'll see. If
absolutely,
it might be fun to do one day.
You should totally do it. Even if you go to like open mic night or something like that, put yourself out there.
Yeah.
I've thought about doing that same thing. I think about these things that I think are hysterical, and then I'm like, I don't know if anyone else would think that's funny though.
That's the thing is I'm like, is this only funny to me and my dumb friends, or like, like funny to the general population,
to the masses? I think you're funny to the masses. I have full faith in that for sure. Yeah, do that. And then also like things are like we talked about with remote, you could do voiceover work from anywhere really.
Oh, I would love to do that. Yeah, you could do it. I have the utensils to do it right here.
Yeah.
But
absolutely.
Gotta meet someone, kind of get the in, but
yes,
I think it'd be fun.
I think it would be fun too. And I think you'd be great at it. And speaking of things that you do from your home, you also like not just drums, but you do a lot of recording on other instruments and like making music and in different like genres too. So that's been fun to watch as well.
Yeah, I'm all over the place. I have my own sort of like heavy solo instrumental project called 1 Decade that I use that as I needed to get music out of my brain and formatted into physical audio somehow during the recovery process. I was going nuts, and I just had all these like riffs in my head, so I just started doing it. And so I have that. I'm really into that like resurgence of like 80s synthwave, retro wave, and stuff like that. So I've been really into that for the past few years, and I've been making music of my own in that kind of world and genre, and that's amazing. And then also earlier this year, I just got pop punk just struck a nerve in me, and I just wrote like a pop punk EP just out of nowhere in like a week. And I've just been getting all my buddies, some cool singers, to like sing on it. And I'm just trying to kind of like finalize that stuff and release that. But yeah, I do all of those projects I do here myself, and I write it and mix it and master it and all that. And it's hard to do, I'm the type of person where I'll mix something and then I'll be like, no, it sucks. This isn't good enough. And I'm never happy. And then I'm just like, just put it out. Sometimes it's good. Sometimes it's bad. And I don't know. That's just part of the process, but I love doing it. It's definitely always been something that's been in since I was really young. I started making my own music on like this program called Fruity Loops when I was in like high school.
Wow.
And that's how I kind of just like learned and taught myself how to like program drums. And then from there, I just watch YouTube videos and look up podcasts sometimes about like how to do this and that with production and engineering stuff. And it's fun. I absolutely love, I just like I probably get that from my dad. You know, he likes creating things and making things. I do the same. I get the same fulfillment out of it. Like when I finish a song and listen back to it, I'm like, I made this. This is fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Satisfaction.
That's so great. And I know it's one of the things about being a creative person is that you're putting yourself into what you're doing, and it's hard to put that out there and, you know, like let it stand on its own for someone else to judge if it's good or not, you know. So I give you all the credit. I love the 80s stuff. I'm a child of the 80s, so that like speaks to me 100%. And I love that it's making a comeback. So
I love it so much. And it's just getting more and more popular, and it just makes me so happy because I'm not the biggest fan of most of what's mainstream in music these days. It just doesn't do anything for me. So I like that we have our synthwave and our, you know, pop punk starting to be kind of become cool again as well, and more mainstream. So it's just cool to see all that stuff unfold. But yeah, the synthwave stuff that's all I listen to.
It's so great, and everything kind of comes back, right? Like,
yeah.
It's always cyclical, I think, and just like fashion, music comes back.
Yeah, I think they call it. It's literally called like the 20-year. Every 20 years, like, you know, now stuff from the 90s are coming back, like fashion stuff from the 90s, like,
yeah,
you know, even our clothing brand, we're nerds about like 90s Nike sports apparel and like how the bright neon weird abstract designs, we are obsessed with that stuff, and now you're seeing tons of it. It's like the hottest stuff right now. I love that.
I love it too. It's so good. And you know, neon colors, that was just like so big, and it disappeared for a little while, but like you can't look at anything that's neon and not smile about it. Like it's just
party.
Yeah, exactly. It's just happiness in a color.
And yeah.
It's so good. So other things that you're interested in, and this is one of the things that we bonded about when we first met, first started chatting in the world of the music industry, but horror movies and all of that. Halloween's coming up. So I have to bring up, I saw a trailer for the latest Halloween movie. Have you seen that? I can't wait either.
I can't. Well, what did you think about the newest Halloween, the one that came out in 2018?
I mean, I'm a real like traditionalist when it comes to horror movies. Like I like when it follows that like path of what is supposed to happen in a horror movie. Which is, you know, there are just these like rules that are followed. You always go down the basement stairs in the dark with the light flickering. You always run toward the scream that comes from the forest, you know, you like
all the tropes and
Yes. Yeah. You always like look down into the deep, dark water. And like the bad guy always escapes. Like that's what happens in these. And then there's a sequel. Like that's just what happens. So, I mean, I liked it just because I'm just a huge fan of the franchise, but I also feel like I don't know if anyone out there saw this trailer that we're referencing, but Jamie Lee Curtis is in it, and like she looks her age, which I love. Like there's, you know, she and so like to me, I'm like, this woman who's like lived this life in this franchise is coming back as like her age in real life to like fight again. And I mean, how many times does she have to kill Michael Myers? I don't know.
Yeah, but I love that they disregarded literally every single movie and just kept it in the universe of just the first original film, which is my favorite movie of any genre of all time. Halloween.
Oh my gosh, yes.
My favorite. So I think it's really cool that they did that, and I absolutely loved the movie. And I love how, honestly, I think if John Carpenter hadn't scored it, it wouldn't have been as good. But it had John Carpenter's choice of melody with the synth stuff. Made it like, oh my God, I got chills when like certain parts of the music hit, and I was like, this is perfect. I love it so much. I'm actually going to watch it tonight to get excited for the next one.
To get ready.
Yeah, the new one looks amazing as well, and I'm really excited to see it and see how the third one goes in a couple of years when they release that, and like how they kind of tie off the whole trilogy. But
yeah,
I think it's gonna they're doing great, and the trailer for the new one looks amazing. So
yes, it really does.
There's a lot of good horror movie. There's some good stuff coming out in October. One of my favorite. I'm a sucker for like found footage movies, like Blair Witch, and all that. There's this one franchise called VHS. Have you ever seen those movies?
No, I haven't.
It's like, so it's done found footage style, and it's like these people looking at these VHS tapes that they found, and they all have like really fucked up shit and murders and stuff on them, and each tape is directed by a different person, like in the movie industry. And there's 3 of those. There's a new one coming out, I think next week, October 6th. And that's the first one since 2014. So I'm really excited for that. There's a new Paranormal Activity coming out.
Oh yeah. I was just going to reference that movie because that's like right exactly what you're talking about. But I have to say though, if you're a parent and you have like the video baby monitors, that movie is extra scary. Those movies are extra scary because you live that life like daily looking in the monitor going like,
oh my God,
what is good? It's frightening, but
why is my child talking to the wall right now?
Yeah. Or you're looking at the monitor, just expecting something to jump out at you. But
yeah, that's what the movies do to us. But I mean, yeah, like, a lot of people, a lot of horror elitists will, talk all their shit about Paranormal Activity, but I don't care. I like pretty much all of those movies. I'm a big fan of, and I don't know. I just like the found footage stuff too. But I think like 80s and 90s slashers are my favorite.
Yeah.
Michael Myers, Freddy, Jason. Yeah. Scream.
Friday the 13th. Yep.
Yeah. And I'm just now. As soon as it hit fall the other day, I was like, pumpkins, spooky, ghosts, knives. I was like, and I've just been, every night I've just been watching. I was like, I'm gonna put a horror movie on, and just I go pretty hard the whole month of October, where I'm just
it's the season. I had to, I just had to bring it up because it's like we're right in the middle of it, and I'm right there with you. I love the fall, the weather, being in this area, and just the leaves changing, and it like lends itself to perfect horror movie watching.
It really,
And I have, what do you think about the American Horror Story series on TV?
So I'm a huge fan, and I've been watching the new one.
Yes.
I like that. So next week starts they're in like the desert or whatever,
Yes. It's like the double feature this season.
So,
yeah.
And they just finished the 6 episodes of the first one, which was Red Tide. I thought it was, I went into it going, oh, this looks kind of, I was surprised.
Yes.
I thought it was kind of fucking cool and original. The way
I agree.
The pale people, like I don't know. I was surprised by it. I think it's cool. I really love American Horror Story. Yeah.
Yes, me too. And this first part of this double feature takes place in Provincetown, which of course, in Massachusetts. So watching it, it's like extra creepy.
Yeah, it probably hits home to you more. Yeah.
Yeah, but the premise of it is so good. It's just so cool. Good. And
that's a cool idea.
Yeah, and the creepy little girl just really makes it. She's a great actress.
She's a great actress, but I hate her. I hate her character. I hate her character.
Her character, not her.
Shit. Yeah.
Yeah, really. I know. It's one of those situations where I'm like, oh my gosh, creepy. So creepy.
The next one, it has to do with like aliens, I guess, which that's cool. Like they've never, I don't think American Horror Story only in one season ever kind of like hinted at alien stuff. And that was the third. There was like tiny little bit of alien reference on like a side story of Coven. Other than that, like, I'm excited for it. What's your favorite season of American Horror Story?
I really, really loved the first season.
Yeah.
It was so good, and so like original, and I just thought it was so creepy.
Yeah, it's probably the best, probably the reigning king, I would say, of
Yeah.
But my favorite season is probably unpopular opinion. My favorite season is, I believe it's 5, Hotel.
Oh yeah.
I absolutely loved that season so much.
That was so good. And it was like extra creepy for people who find themselves like, travel for work or for tour, like we do, and find ourselves sometimes in a hotel that's like a little bit less than normal feeling.
Like a really old one. We stayed we once stayed in one in Corpus Christi that looked and felt exactly like that hotel.
Wow.
And I didn't sleep. I was like, this place is creepy. It's haunted.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, I don't know, something about that season just really, and Lady Gaga like just kills it in it.
Yes. Well, that's the fun part about this show, I think, is like not only the actors and actresses coming back in new roles, and they're all so incredible
Such good acting.
Their craft.
Yeah.
Right? It's incredible. But then also the guests like Macaulay Culkin on this season.
Macaulay was so good.
Yeah. Incredible.
Yeah, he was so good. Oh man.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was cool to see.
I agree. Not to turn this into a horror movie podcast, but we had to touch on this stuff. We have to. It's just, and it's part of our history too. So.
Yep. And it's getting to be that time of year. So.
Exactly.
I'll be here for another 2 hours and 45 minutes talking about it if we.
Maybe we'll do a part 2, and it'll just be like horror movie discussions.
Yeah. For sure. I love it.
I love it too. I am the friend that people go to. Excuse me. That people go to ask, like, what horror movie should I watch, or what's okay for my kids at what age, like that kind of thing. And that question's funny to me because I grew up just watching horror movies like as a child, as a young child. And, I am the opposite in that when it comes to children now. I'm like, oh no, like don't watch that, Yeah. But then again, I'm like, hey, I turned out, I think, okay. So
yeah. And for me, I was born October 30th, 1987. So I was destined to be, obsessed with Halloween and that time of year. I get excited as a kid growing up. You get excited because October means my birthday's coming. And not only did I get presents, the next day I got to go trick or treating. So, and I grew up as a child, like watching Halloween and Friday the 13th, and like, it never scared me. It did, but it more so I liked like the rush, like the excitement of being scared. It was like fun to be scared. And where I lived at the time, and probably just all those things I just explained about like being my birthday month, fell in love with it. And it's always been my number one favorite genre and time.
I love it.
That's the one thing I'll miss when I move to Vegas. If there's one thing I'll miss, it's just
this season.
Michigan fall is gorgeous, just like it is in Massachusetts. Like it's unbeatable. Great weather. Everyone always talks about, the foliage and
that might have to be, you might have to do like an annual trip home for your birthday / Halloween. And
I'm gonna have to. Yeah.
You have to do it.
I'll miss it. Yeah.
I love it. And bringing it back to the music too, and you touched on this a little bit with John Carpenter, but one of the best things about that genre of music is, the genre of movie is how the music makes or breaks the movie.
100%. Imagine watching Halloween with no music.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no.
It would suck.
It would.
Any movie, the music, the score and the ambience and suspense is what makes probably any movie, but especially horror movies. Like hearing those creepy, haunting John Carpenter melodies when you're seeing like a silhouette of Michael Myers down the street, it's just like, oh
yeah,
it's essential. You got to have that music with it, or else it doesn't work.
I agree totally.
Yeah.
Totally. And speaking of music, I don't want to end without talking about what you have coming up. So you mentioned that there are some fun things on the horizon that I'm sure you'll be able to talk about soon musically, but also you guys have some tour dates booked for 2022 in Europe, and super exciting Download Festival.
Oh yeah, that's going to be good. Yeah. So coming up, sometime in October, we're going to be filming a music video for a song. I'm not going to say which one, but there will be a new song music video coming soon. And then so far, all we have set in stone for next year is summertime in Europe. And we're playing Download. We're playing, I believe it's the first day where Kiss is headlining. And
wow.
Yeah. So that, and you know, what's really weird actually is I was talking to my guys about this, and the last show before the accident that we played overseas in Europe was Download UK with Kiss headlining.
Oh my goodness.
The first show we will play back in Europe after the accident is Download with Kiss headlining.
Wow. That's like a full circle moment there.
How weird is that? Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's going to be insane. We are able to play one of the stages. We're headlining it, and it's just going to be, I think it's going to be so insane since we haven't been over there in so long. We've done it in the US and it's amazing and it's crazy, but like Europe is also a different beast. You know, we're playing Germany with Full Force Festival after that. We're headlining that one. It's going to be crazy. That's
awesome.
Crazy, because I feel like Germany might be the Ghost Inside's like best market as far as like turnouts and the numbers we do, and just like how dedicated the fans are. It's close between US and Germany, but it's just going to be nuts. We have those. We have one other one. I forget where. How many do we have? I think we have 3 next summer in Europe. So we're actually going to go over there and just kind of stay for a few weeks.
That's great.
So it'll be also really cool, which I'm excited about. One of the things I'm most excited about is, you know, I've toured in Europe 30 times. I've done full Europe tours more times than I can count. And I've gone and done touristy sightseeing stuff, but not like I'm going to be able to do next summer. You know, we're going to have a show and then I'll have a week off to go do whatever I want, not have to worry about being to a venue on time or like we have to leave the next day for this. I can like hang out in Belgium or wherever we're at, you know, and actually go just do the touristy stuff. And it's something I'm going to absolutely do, because I don't know when I'll be back. And before the accident, I had this kind of sense of sort of this attitude of like, oh, we tour Europe all the time, I'll be right back. And then look what happened. We almost died. So I'm not gonna pass up on going and seeing the sights while we're in Europe. So that's really exciting.
That's wonderful. And I'm excited for you. And I love that attitude of go and do it 100%. You never know what tomorrow has in store. And, you know, it's amazing what you can see when you check out the world. And I know it's hard being on tour because you are like rushing to get to the next venue and, you know, attempting to get sleep sometimes. And
yeah, a lot of times it's
hard.
You're just kind of exhausted and you're like, I'll just stay at the venue, or I want a nap or whatever. But I did try and see as much as I could. And I'm thankful and grateful for every site I've seen and all the traveling I've been able to do. I mean, I've seen over 40 countries, but it's just, like I said, it's going to be special to sort of be able to have like a week to just hang out in these countries and these cool cities, you know. So
yes, absolutely.
Exciting stuff. That's all we got planned as of now. Maybe some more stuff will come up next year in 2022. Kind of see the way where we're at as a band right now is I don't think you'll ever see the Ghost Inside on like a 30-day full US playing every night in a different city. I don't think after the shows we've played, our bodies can handle that. We need a day or two off in between. And you know, I don't know how everyone else in the band sort of feels about jumping back on a bus. Some people are like, okay. I think maybe some people might be a little hesitant. So we'll cross that bridge when the time comes. Maybe there will be some sort of tour, but as of right now, we're just going to play kind of festivals and one-off performances when it makes sense for us to do, you know. That's kind of what, and we're happy to do even that. You know, we thought we weren't going to ever do it again. So if that's all we can do or handle, like, yeah, sign me up. But we'll see.
Yes.
You never know what's going to happen in the future. So
That's totally understandable. And I think that the fans out there are happy for any chance to get to see you guys play in any aspect. So
yeah.
it's wonderful that you guys are back out and doing some touring and, getting to play those festivals again. I'm psyched for you.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's just something that was so uncertain for so long. And
Mhm.
being up on stage, even just this last month, there were times where I like blanked out, just like, I can't believe that we're doing it. I can't believe it. It's just like, it's wild. Yeah.
It's amazing. It's amazing. Well, I'm excited for everything you have coming up. I can't wait to hear about you getting into the new house and the news that you have, and then seeing you back out there. I'm sure I'll have the chance to see you in person at some point soon enough.
Yeah, absolutely. I hope sooner than later. It's been good catching up, and
Yes,
we'll
absolutely.
have to sort of reconnect after we've both seen the new Halloween and have a discussion
We will do that.
on our thoughts.
We will do that. I can't wait. I'm looking forward to that for sure.
Yep.
Well, thank you so much, Andrew. It's been wonderful chatting with you, and enjoy your birthday month coming up and all the things that go along with it. And we will catch up soon.
Sounds good. Thanks for having me on. It's been good to catch up with you.
Absolutely. Take care.
Yep. You too.
Bye.
Yep.
Thank you for tuning in today. Join us each Tuesday for new episodes of Sarah Hagan Backstage.